everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So 3 or 4 months ago, Josh's cousin Cameron, who is currently studying at drama school, came down to visit us for Easter, and one night we just sat down with some drinks and we filmed a video talking to him about life after drama school, what things he should expect, basically answering all of his questions that he had for us as two people, Josh and I, who have worked in the industry for quite a few years now. And we had a really good chat and discussed loads of things, and I've been slowly trying to chip away at this video editing wise, but it's become abundantly clear that there's no way to cut the video that we filmed down into a digestible length without cutting a lot of the stuff that we talked about, which I think you guys might find quite valuable. So I've decided instead to cut the video up into 5 parts, and over the next 5 videos you'll be able to see the conversation that we had. You'll hear us talk about what you should expect from your 3rd year of drama school and your 1st year after graduating, what to do if you graduate without an agent, what it's like being a mixed race person in the theatre industry, as all 3 of us are mixed race. We talk about creating your own work, and also what things that you should do ideally if you're training in drama school at the moment to kind of help give you the best foot forward into the industry when you graduate. If you guys are watching and you're either thinking about going to drama school or you're at drama school at the moment, hopefully you'll find this video really interesting and really insightful and informative as Josh and I give our advice to young Cameron just making his way into this wonderful industry of ours. And if you're not an actor or wanting to train as an actor, maybe you'll find it interesting as we just slowly get more and more tipsy and deep. So hopefully you enjoy this little 5-part mini series, and without further ado, let's get into part 1. Bye! Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today you may notice that we have an extra special guest. This is Cameron, Josh's cousin.
Hi!
Hi Cameron.
Hi.
Do you want to tell the guys a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Cameron, I'm a musical theatre student, I'm related to this one.
Sup.
And he just puts up with me because I'm dating this one.
Big Ted's back as well.
Oh, Big Ted is behind us. Yeah, there's not much room for him, but we're making it work. So, like Cameron said, he's a 2nd year student at the Institute of Contemporary Theatre, and he's down visiting us for Easter. So we thought we would take this opportunity to have some beverages, have a chat, and answer some of his questions about what life is like in the industry before he goes into 3rd year madness next year. So that's what we're doing. So if you are in drama school, maybe you'll learn something, or maybe you'll just like watching 3 mixed race people chat
and
about
have drinks.
life.
In which case you're doing the right thing. Yeah.
And on that note, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
No, so he gets
Cameron,
it.
have you liked and subscribed?
I have.
Exactly. Don't be
Have
like
you?
the idiots. Be
Have
like
you?
Cameron.
Have you?
Have you? Cameron has liked and subscribed.
Be like
Have
Cameron.
you?
So Cameron, you have some questions that you thought of. We kind of all brainstormed it in the car. So shall we just crack into the questions straight away?
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
do
Question
it.
number 1.
What's your first question?
So my first question is, what should I be expecting in my 3rd year at the end for showcases and yeah, that 1st year out of drama school? What should I expect?
Shall I start as the actor of the 2 of us? Oh, in case you don't know, which if you don't know, then I'm telling you, I'm a writer-actor, Josh is a writer-director, so that's why we're helping him.
And we've both been graduates for a while.
Yeah, we're both like not recent grads anymore.
No.
It's very sad.
I'm okay with it. I think it's. I prefer it now. I'm happy. I'm comfortable in terms of where I sit in that respect.
So I guess the first bit of advice is you get more comfortable the more you're out of drama school. In terms of 3rd year, it can feel really stressful.
Yeah.
You have showcase and final shows, headshots. There's a lot of big things happening that feel at the time that they're really important. And they are. I think my main bit of advice just holistically, they're not the be all and end all in the grand scheme of your career. It's kind of like, I was thinking about this in the car, about how, you know, like when you're doing your GCSEs. For our non-UK viewers, GCSEs are the exams you take when you're 16 years old. They're like your first kind of qualifications you get at school.
I think for Americans, it's SATs. Correct me in the comments below.
I think aren't SATs more like our A levels though? When you're 16, they're like a massive deal, and you're like, oh my god, these are going to judge the rest of my life, because it can kind of decide what A levels you can take. They can sometimes decide if you're going to stay on at your school for sixth form, or if you have to move to a sixth form college. If you want to move sixth form colleges, then they might have certain grade requirements. So they feel like a big deal, and at the time they are important. Once you're past GCSEs, no one asks for them. I think I technically have my GCSEs on like my non-acting CV, but no one cares.
No.
Definitely not the grades.
Yeah, no one cares about your GCSE grades, but at the time they're important. So I think hopefully you'll have a really breezy like showcase and final show experience. But if you ever get a moment where things are getting really stressful, or like you weren't able to pick your showcase song that you wanted to do, or like you haven't got a great part in your final shows, just remember that this is a moment in time in your whole career, and yeah, you've got to advocate for yourself and do the best you can with whatever is handed to you in your third year, but it is not the be all and end all. And even if everything doesn't go exactly how it's planned, you're gonna be fine. It's like my main bit of holistic advice. Have you got anything to add to that, Josh?
I do actually, and this is one of the things which is very easy to forget when you're in it, is that these are stressful things, but they're partly stressful because it'll be the first time you've done it. It's unknown because you're new, and you spent your entire time up to that point in training in a very safe, enclosed environment. And as a result, a lot of the stress I find comes from simultaneously not really knowing what's going to happen after this milestone, but also because these are the first time you're doing things like, I said, headshots and full shows with the professional expectations that are layered on top of final shows that you wouldn't have had before.
Especially at final show point, they're looking at you as industry professionals, so that's kind of going to be the first time you're going to have that expectation on you. Breathe and chill.
Yeah. And the other thing to remember is that other people's drama school experiences are not going to be indicative of yours, if that makes sense. And there's a lot of hearsay that goes around, especially with the casting of final year shows.
That can be so stressful.
Yeah.
Like,
already is.
And I think the thing to remember about that especially is, if you've got your song, if you've got your show, it's better to focus on what you have to do, rather than wondering, not even what everyone else is doing, but very much wondering about what's going on around the show. Focus on, you can only control what you do. Everything else is out of your hands in a lot of ways. But ultimately, the more work you put in, the better result you will get out of your showcase and your final show.
I mean, it's one of the annoying thing about any kind of institution is that no institution is perfect. So I'll try and summarise really briefly, like my final show experience. The year before me, it was like you had two shows, a bigger show and a smaller show, and there was a cabaret. And if you weren't a big part in either of the two shows, you were guaranteed to be in the cabaret. So you'd have something as like an extra showcase that you could invite potential agents to, and industry professionals who come to see these things could see you in.
I believe that's what they're doing with us as well.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what they should have done for my year. The way they did it in my year is our head of year, or head of the course, because there was only 1 year, it was a 1 year course, decided that no, it was going to just be based on casting. So if you weren't the right casting for the cabaret, even if you didn't have a part in the other two shows, you wouldn't be in the cabaret. And that happened to me. I was in the ensemble of Carousel. I was so upset because I was like, I didn't get I had some agent interest from Showcase, but I didn't get signed from Showcase, and I was like, well, no one's going to see me do anything. I'll have one sung line in a whole big show. But that wasn't the end of my story. And even though I graduated without being signed, I got my first industry job within 3 months of graduating. There were people who got the big parts in our final shows who didn't have that. So what happens at drama school is not an indication of you or your talent or what's going to happen after. And also you're at the whims of whatever shows they pick. So a great example is the story of Michaela Cole, who wrote Chewing Gum, which was based on her one-woman play Chewing Gum Dreams, which I saw. She also wrote I May Destroy You. She's doing brilliantly. Love her Michaela, doing well.
Yes, Michaela's supporting Michaela.
Michaela's supporting Michaela's. But when I saw Chewing Gum Dreams, her one woman play. The story of that is they'd announced final shows. She knew that she wasn't going to get a big part in any of the things that were being done as final shows. She'd written a play and submitted it somewhere and it had been picked up. So she went to her faculty and was like, I know I won't get a big part. I'll be like in the background or in the ensemble. Can my play, which has already got a venue for this festival, be my final show instead? And they were like, yeah. That's not to say you have to write a one-man show just in case.
I'll get it right in the
But
break in case of emergency, your one-man show.
But the reason she did that is because she knew, like, you can only be cast in the plays that are being cast, and if you're not one of the big roles in your casting type, then you're not going to be cast in that role. That's not how final shows work. So yeah.
All I was going to say to add to that point is that unfortunately one of the things that is glossed over in that part of your training is that that's also just your job. So sometimes your role is going to be that small and you will be in that for 9 months, a year, depending entirely on what you're doing. And if that's the case, and that's the case, then you just kind of have to go, all right, fine, that's it, and move on with your day. Yeah. Because that's unfortunately what you sign up for. You're not always going, it's not even the fact you're not always going to get roles of a certain size or a certain importance, for want of a better word, because that's not the case. But it's more about what you know, what you're doing when you're in that role.
Yeah, and making the most of that role.
Absolutely, and the thing about drama school as an environment is I think there's this, within drama schools as well, there's always this curiosity around end of year shows and final shows as to who's going to get what. But then that's very easy to gloss over the fact that this isn't the last show you're meant to do in your career. This is, if anything, just meant to be the show to check you're ready to do it properly. And then you can still learn and listen even if you're not in a big role. And in some respects, being in that room and still listening, and if you're in a role and it's much smaller than someone else's, you yourself do still have the opportunity to be in that room. You can listen, you can learn, you can imbibe the process that whoever is in those bigger roles are having. Just because you're not in that role doesn't preclude you from actually getting the role that you need to be in to learn more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Moving on to like after drama school in like your first year out. So like I said, my story was I didn't get signed straight out of... Did you not?
I never knew that.
Yeah, no, I did not get signed. So my story briefly is I didn't get signed after drama school. The one agent that was interested in me after Showcase saw me in Carousel and were like, yeah, no. That was hard. And I think that was the same day one of my colleagues found out she got cast in the one with the chandelier, Phantom of the Opera. So yeah, that was a hard day for me. Like, great for her, she absolutely deserved it and smashed it, but that was a hard day for me. And then 3 months later I got I found out that I'd been cast in Into the Woods, so my first Christmas out, that was the show I was doing. From that's how I got my agent. I wrote to everyone else's agents and was like, hey, when that show finished, had meetings with 2 of those, and that's when I signed with my agency, JWL, with my agent Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
Jimmy does Jimmy watch these videos?
I have no idea.
Well, if you do, hey, Jimmy.
That was my journey. Other people, so for example, that colleague who I mentioned, Charlotte, whilst we were still technically at drama school, she got cast in Phantom of the Opera as, I think she was first cover Carlotta.
Wow.
She has an amazing voice. She's like classically trained and she can literally sing anything you throw at her. It's amazing. That was a perfectly timed top of the call. One of my other colleagues, she was an international student. She got really close to being cast in Saigon. Doorbell. Cut while I go get that, just in case our other housemates aren't in. Chat amongst yourselves.
Okay.
It'll be fun watching it back.
One eternity later.
And we file back in. Our housemate just came back from tour unexpectedly.
Mine and Michaela's, not Cameron's.
Yeah, Cameron doesn't live here. Before the doorbell went, I was talking about my colleagues, other colleagues who... Oh, their experiences leaving drama school, that was it. From what I saw on social media, there were at least like a few, if not the majority of our year, who didn't work really in their first year of drama school, or if they did, it was kind of smaller, low-paid jobs. I think Charlotte was the only one who got into the West End out of drama school, so don't expect to get into the West End out of drama school. It's very, very rare.
I wouldn't expect to get into the West End straight out of drama school.
Yeah, but even like kind of the established fringe theatres like the Park or the Southwark, or things like that, Arcola, Almeida, going straight into a big job is the minority of graduates in your first year. And I think the majority of graduates, like, it takes you a while to get that first job.
The other thing to remember about the West End Broadway complex, for want of a better word, is that whilst those are things which are good to do, it's very important not to think of yourself as a careerist, especially coming out of drama school. Because if you mould yourself thinking that the West End is where you are going to be, not necessarily where you want to be, then that sets you up for a very difficult ride, because those shows themselves have enormous amounts of time, money and energy put into them. So anyone who's going in there either needs to be able to show that they can, as Michaela says, do that job and withstand the pressure of that job. But at the same time, it also means that you yourself, if you go straight from drama school to the West End, artistically speaking, you won't have any chance to explore the kind of work that you want to do, the kind of work you can do, or the kind of work that you might be exposed to making, which would not necessarily be on the West End when you graduate, if that makes sense.
I think just to wrap up on this question, because I know, going downstairs aside, I know we've been talking about this a lot. The last two things that I'd want to say is, firstly, to hop on off the back of what you've just said, is when you're first out of drama school in that first year, and actually I think this carries on throughout your career, be prepared to try anything once, unless it's something where you absolutely know yourself and you know you'd hate it. For example, if you know you hate being isolated away from home for long months on end, maybe don't do a 9-month cruise ship where you're like stuck on a boat for 9 months in the middle of the ocean. Or I know someone else who like hates kids, so like he would never do TIE or Panto because there's a lot of kids involved. Be open to trying once being an understudy, or trying once doing physical theatre, or trying once doing Shakespeare if the opportunity presents itself. Drama schools, they obviously want you to get the big prestige things. They want you to go to the National, they want you to go on the West End, because that looks good for them to be like, our alumni are doing this. So that is what they push and train you to do, which isn't a bad thing in and of itself, but there's so much more to theatre and a performance career, and you're only going to know what excites you by trying everything. And then once you've tried it, you can be like, cool, I've learnt from that experience because it was a new one, and I know that I don't want to do that again, if you don't want to do it again. The second thing, which is actually something I got from a video about fashion design, but I think it's very true. Drama school and training can't prepare you for your whole career, because no one knows how your career is going to go. Even when you're first out, you don't know how your career is going to go. What it's there for is to give you the preparation to get that first job, or that first couple of jobs. And then after that, it's what you learn on those jobs and the contacts that you make and the skills that you learn and the credits that kind of are your proof of what you can do that get you those next jobs, if that makes sense. Do you feel we answered your first question?
I feel like you answered it and you explored it, and I went on an emotional and physical spiritual journey.
A spiritual journey. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
We change lives with spiritual journeys. No,
Not today.
this spirit.
Okay, yeah.
That's what it is.
So, and now a message from Art Natural.
No.